The entire Catholic world was taken by surprise the moment Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Secretary of State of the Holy See, revealed the profound and miraculous events that led to the election of Pope Leo XIV. Cardinal Parolin, though considered a leading candidate for the papacy himself, chose to speak from the heart rather than focus on his own disappointment or the intricacies of the election. His testimony about the divine guidance behind the selection of Pope Leo XIV is a tale of faith, humility, and spiritual wonder. For those who don't know, Pope Leo XIV, born Robert Francis Provost, was elected during a conclave in 2025, following the passing of Pope Francis. This event marked the end of an era, but it also signified a new beginning for the Catholic Church, with a fresh vision and an embodiment of divine will at work. Cardinal Parolin, who worked closely with Pope Francis during his papacy, had witnessed firsthand the challenges Pope Francis faced and the compassionate leadership he demonstrated in guiding the Church. Yet, as he penned this testimony, it became clear that Cardinal Parolin's feelings were not of sorrow but of profound wonder at the mystery of God's plan. The conclave that led to the election of Pope Leo XIV took place in a context of grief. Pope Francis's passing had left a gaping void, not only in the hearts of the faithful, but also within the walls of the Vatican, where he had spent more than a decade shaping the Church's direction. Pope Francis had always placed the marginalized at the center of the Church's mission, from social issues to environmental stewardship. His death left an immense legacy that weighed heavily on the minds of the cardinals who gathered for the conclave. The question on everyone's heart was, who could fill such a monumental role? However, Cardinal Parolin shared that during the conclave, something remarkable occurred. While the election of the Pope is often seen as a political process involving votes and strategies, the conclave of 2025 was fundamentally a spiritual journey. Every vote cast, every prayer offered, and every moment of silence held significance far beyond human understanding. As the cardinals gathered under the dome of the Sistine Chapel, their hearts and minds were guided not by their own wisdom but by the Holy Spirit. Cardinal Parolin emphasized that this was not merely an election. It was a sacred act where the cardinals were participating in something much larger than themselves. In the midst of the ballots, something extraordinary happened. Cardinal Robert Francis Provost, an American Augustinian, stepped forward with humility and courage and declared, "I accept." These simple words were not just an acceptance of responsibility, they were a testament to Pope Leo XIV's unwavering faith and readiness to serve. The moment was so moving that a round of applause erupted from the gathered cardinals. It wasn't just a congratulatory gesture, it was a deep expression of gratitude for his acceptance of God's will. Pope Leo XIV's expression at that moment, Cardinal Parolin recalled, was one of profound peace, a smile so gentle and serene that it convinced everyone present that God had indeed chosen the right person. There was no hesitation in Pope Leo's heart. He radiated peace, a peace that served as a beacon for all who witnessed it. Cardinal Parolin remembered how this peace extended beyond the Sistine Chapel and into the hearts of all the faithful, reaffirming their belief in God's guidance. But it wasn't just Pope Leo XIV's acceptance that left an impression. His demeanor, both before and after his election, revealed a man who was fully surrendered to the will of God. He didn't seek the limelight. Instead, he chose humility. His actions and words reflected a man who, despite the immense responsibility of the papacy, understood that the position was not about power or prestige but about service. Cardinal Parolin noted that this serenity, this humble acceptance of a daunting mission, was what made Pope Leo XIV stand out from other candidates before the conclave. The cardinals had engaged in pre-conclave discussions where they reflected on the challenges facing the Church. From the decline of faith in the West to the struggles of the Church in conflict zones, the cardinals shared their perspectives on how best to guide the Church. Pope Leo XIV participated in these discussions with an open heart, encouraging his fellow cardinals to reflect on the Church's role in fostering peace, justice, and hope. His words resonated with the cardinals, as they spoke not just from theological knowledge but from deep spiritual insight. It was this blend of wisdom and humility that made Pope Leo XIV the clear choice when the time came for the cardinals to vote. When Pope Leo XIV made his first public appearance as Pope on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, the world witnessed a man who was attuned to the needs of the times. His call for disarmed peace and disarmament was not just a political message. It was a spiritual invitation for humanity to reject violence and embrace reconciliation. His words were simple, yet they carried the weight of centuries of church teaching. Pope Leo XIV didn't seek to shine the spotlight on himself. Instead, he invited the faithful to pray for one another and for the world, embodying the spirit of a shepherd who leads not through personal glory but through service to God's people. Cardinal Parolin also took the opportunity to reflect on the legacy of Pope Francis, the man whose vision had shaped much of the Church's direction over the previous decade. Pope Francis, hailing from South America, had brought a breath of fresh air to the Vatican. His emphasis on humility, compassion, and listening to the forgotten had left an indelible mark on the Church. Pope Leo XIV, though bringing his own fresh vision, continued this legacy. Cardinal Parolin expressed deep gratitude for Pope Francis's leadership, noting that the lessons learned from Pope Francis were a guiding light during the conclave. It was Pope Francis's example that inspired the cardinals to approach the conclave with openness and a readiness to listen to the Holy Spirit. Reflecting on the conclave itself, Cardinal Parolin remembered the small but significant moments that shaped the experience. The smiles exchanged after each ballot, the hymns sung in the Sistine Chapel, and the moments of quiet reflection before each vote. All of these details painted a beautiful picture of unity among the cardinals. Despite coming from different cultures and contexts, the cardinals were bound together by a common purpose: to seek the leader that God had chosen for the Church. This unity, Cardinal Parolin noted, was a testament to the strength of the Church as a living body, nourished by God's love. As Pope Leo XIV embarks on his mission, Cardinal Parolin calls on the faithful to pray for him and support him in this challenging yet grace-filled journey. The Church does not belong solely to the cardinals or the clergy, but to all of us, God's people, called to live and share the gospel in today's world. Cardinal Parolin urges everyone to accompany Pope Leo XIV in this mission of love, peace, and hope. In the end, Cardinal Parolin's testimony is not just a reflection on the events of the conclave. It is a story of faith, divine guidance, and the Holy Spirit at work in the life of the Church. Pope Leo XIV's leadership, marked by serenity, wisdom, and humility, is a clear sign that God chose the right person to lead the Church at this moment in history. Cardinal Parolin's words remind us that, even in times of uncertainty and loss, the Holy Spirit is always at work, guiding us toward hope and renewal. Cardinal Parolin concludes his testimony by calling on all the faithful to support Pope Leo XIV and to trust in the guidance of the Holy Spirit. The Church's mission is not one of power or prestige but of service to God's people. Pope Leo XIV's leadership is a reminder that true greatness lies not in the titles we hold or the positions we occupy, but in the way we serve one another and follow the example of Christ. As we reflect on the testimony of Cardinal Parolin, we are reminded of the profound journey of faith that brought us to this moment. Pope Leo XIV is not just a new pope, he is a sign of God's love for his Church and his people. With his leadership, the future of the Church is filled with hope. May we all continue to pray for our new Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV, and trust in God's plan for the Church and for all of humanity. The entire Catholic world was taken by surprise the moment Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Secretary of State of the Holy See, revealed the profound and miraculous events that led to the election of Pope Leo XIV. Cardinal Parolin, though considered a leading candidate for the papacy himself, chose to speak from the heart rather than focus on his own disappointment or the intricacies of the election. His testimony about the divine guidance behind the selection of Pope Leo XIV is a tale of faith, humility, and spiritual wonder. For those who don't know, Pope Leo XIV, born Robert Francis Provost, was elected during a conclave in 2025, following the passing of Pope Francis. This event marked the end of an era, but it also signified a new beginning for the Catholic Church, with a fresh vision and an embodiment of divine will at work. Cardinal Parolin, who worked closely with Pope Francis during his papacy, had witnessed firsthand the challenges Pope Francis faced and the compassionate leadership he demonstrated in guiding the Church. Yet, as he penned this testimony, it became clear that Cardinal Parolin's feelings were not of sorrow but of profound wonder at the mystery of God's plan. The conclave that led to the election of Pope Leo XIV took place in a context of grief. Pope Francis's passing had left a gaping void, not only in the hearts of the